And at that point, I was like, okay, I tried. Here's the ironic part about that. Like 5 years later after that, somebody called me and said, you and George Lopez and Paul Rodriguez should do a show together. And I had already given money to somebody as a silent partner and told them, put this show together. Offer them whatever their quotes are, whatever they need to do, whatever, do it. This is my money, because nobody would do it. And we did a tour called The Three Amigos in Texas, and we sold like 50,000 seats altogether in like 4 or 5 cities.
And who?
Me, Lopez, and Paul Rodriguez. This was like, in the mid 90s.
And this was after all that shit?
Yeah.
So now, okay, so you did this thing with
now
Lopez, and
the Lopez thing goes on, and it kind of disappears.
A little bit. Well, I guess he kind of probably either let it go or just thought it was below him to talk about it. But it's interesting that you guys made business decisions to work with each other.
Oh, yeah.
And then now you've still got this reputation hanging over you, but it doesn't become an international incident.
No.
Until Rogan.
Joe keeps saying Carlos Mencia.
This is before you had the...
This is way before any of this stuff.
In the mid-90s.
Yeah, so I don't know about that. It's probably, more toward the 2000s.
Okay.
But because we were buddies for a while.
He just calls you that.
He befriended George. You know what I mean? And
okay.
then George influenced him. So then I'm at the Comedy Store, and a buddy of mine who was a writer on my show, Kirk Fox.
I know Kirk.
Gets introduced. So he introduces him as, this guy works with, Carlos Mencia, blah, blah, blah. And I was there. And I was just fucking sick of this shit.
Yeah.
Because, and here's what you gotta understand. If I actually really did consciously steal shit,
yeah,
I would have shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would have just left. I would have just been like, you know what? I got a TV show and a career.
You wouldn't think you would have overcompensated?
Fuck him.
Right. It could have gone either way.
Not what I did, bro.
Okay.
I went on stage.
Yeah.
After
Kirk.
Yeah. And I said, Joe, come up here, man. What fucking joke have I ever stole from you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you've never stolen my joke. And I'm like, so what the fuck is your problem? Like, I've never got that. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't understand it. I mean, I understand somebody coming up to me and saying you stole my shit. It was just really difficult to like have somebody say, well, you just take other people's stuff. I'm
right.
like, well, what does that have to do with you? So then he said, well, there's comics in here that, say. So then that's when the joke about the fence, which like 15 of us did, the Mexicans building the fence.
Right.
So then Ari Shafir was like, you took that joke from me because one time I opened for you. I'm like, bro, you've never opened for me. Oh, no. One time I performed before you because you let me do a spot before you and I did that joke. I'm like, do you think I was watching you?
Yeah.
And I let you do a spot during my show? Because a friend of mine said, hey, let Ari go, and you repay me by doing this to me?
Yeah.
Okay. So then that video, somebody recorded that, which at the time,
2007,
something had already happened at the Comedy Store with video. And some of us other comedians got together and said, look, we're not going to go perform there if you guys allow people to record us.
Yeah.
Because we're doing stuff that might end up on, the Tonight Show or whatever. And we don't want that out in the internet, in the biosphere before we actually do the bit.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression that, none of this was going on. So for me, this was Kinnison having a fight in the back with Vinnie Curto and he pulled the gun.
Right.
These were those stories that I heard.
Yeah.
This was just me and him on stage.
Right.
Getting it out between us.
In front of the...
That was it.
Yeah.
And the next day, somebody had recorded it with a phone, and it was on the internet, but it was crappy and whatever.
Right.
Then, they told him, don't do anything with that recording. Of course, he did the editing, he put it out, and Joe did, and that became, well, Joe didn't, Redman, but, then that went out, then that became like a big deal. And that's the first day, believe it or not, when that video went out. And then I started getting all the reaction that I realized, oh shit, I'm popular.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I knew I sold tickets and I knew I was making money, but I had no fucking idea.
What were the emails like?
That I was popular enough that people were waiting for an opportunity to just say, you are a piece of shit.
Uh-huh.
And that's what came. Just a barrage of, you should fucking die, you're a piece of shit, just the fucking worst. I mean, I'm talking about last year in December, I tweeted, I'm going to Iraq, and I get, posts back saying, well, I hope you fucking die while you're there. Like that kind of visceral hate. And then here's my other big fucking dumb mistake, but you gotta understand, like, this is why I wanted to go from the beginning as opposed to, so
Right.
you can understand, like, why these decisions got made, whether they were right or wrong in anyone's eyes. So I'm doing my special, I'm shooting a special, right? This is after that. And, of course I said to my people, I want to fight this battle. I want to fight this. I want to fucking go on radio, do it. And they're like, you know what? Shut the fuck up. You made a mistake by opening your mouth in the first place. That's my managers, agents, publicists, everybody, crisis manager guy. I was like, I want to fucking address this shit.
Yeah.
They were like, you will not. You will shut up. You
Yeah.
will let this blow over. They didn't understand that the internet's forever.
Yeah.
It's like an echo that never stops.
Yeah.
They didn't get that. They were thinking traditional story hits, it goes away. They didn't see what this new world is like.
Yeah.
So they told me to be quiet, and that's been the hardest fucking thing.
But what happened? What did
Ever.
you do? What was the next thing you did?
So then I'm performing. I'm doing a special. Chris McGuire and Jeff Schimmel are helping me, put it together. And Jeff comes up to me and says, "Listen, there's a joke that you do that sounds very similar." And I was like, "Dude, I'm fucking tired of this shit. Whoever the fuck you're gonna say, I don't know what the joke is. I don't know what his joke is. I don't know what joke you're going to tell me." And he goes, listen, there's a joke that you do right now that sounds very similar to a joke that Bill Cosby does. And I'm like, well, you know what? I've never seen it. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just fucking tired of skirting the issue.
Have you never seen it?
That one? No.
All right.
I mean,
Which joke was it?
it was a joke about how it's a basic joke about how dads are the ones that help their sons become athletes, but when they become athletes and become popular and they get interviewed, they say, "I love you, Mom."
All right.
Right? So the joke was born from my brother.
Yeah.
My brother's kid, he wants to put him in Pop Warner football.
Yeah.
The mom is like, "No, he's gonna get hurt," and
Yeah.
his head. And my brother's like, "No, man." So my brother busts his ass to get him ready, and he has a decent year.
Yeah.
And we go to his banquet, and then the fucker's like, "I want to thank my mom," and I'm like, "You piece of shit!" You know what I mean? So in my head, it clicks,
Right.
and and then in my head, I see a montage of course, "Hi mom, hi mom, hi mom, hi mom," and I go, "I gotta do this fucking joke." Well, when that came out, that brought real legitimacy to the argument. That's like the one thing that really fucked
Whose
things
argument?
up.
Oh.
To the argument of the people that say,
You're a
"Look,"
thief.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because with this other joke, 10 people did it.
Yeah.
It was almost like
The Wall.
Yeah, the wall. Everybody does it. But with that joke, it was like, "Oh, dude, and people refuse to believe that I didn't see the joke." But what I say is, do I come off as that retarded, as that stupid? Do I come off as somebody dumb enough to take a joke from an iconic performance from one of the most beloved and iconic comedians of all time and think that nobody would see it after having a reputation for years of fucking thievery? I would never be that fucking dumb. I don't take jokes, but if I did, I'd take it from some fucking mook that nobody knows. I wouldn't do it from fucking Bill Cosby in I don't know if it was himself or which one it was, but I would just not do that. That's fucking dumb.
Right.
And so when that happened, it brought the people that are in your circle who were kind of like, I don't know about it, to like, well, I can't defend that.
Right.
So even people that like me don't defend me because they just, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like, I don't know what to say about that one. And what happened was when the special came out, the producers omitted that. They kind of protected me and went, "They take that fucking joke out." But when it went to video, none of the producers were around anymore, so they just dumped all the